I have been having so much fun lately exploring the Model Context Protocol, and I want to show you all 2 quick ways to build your own remote MCP servers. But before we do that, just in case you've never heard of MCP or you haven't quite understood why there's so much excitement in the community about MCP, I want to try to explain it using a brief metaphor. A metaphor that involves one of my favorite video games of all time, The Legend of Zelda. I grew up playing this game with my dad on the Nintendo, but whether you've played it or not, you've probably seen this image where Link's walking into the cave and the old man says, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this." And this image, to me, captures so much of why I'm excited about MCP. So you can think of Link as whatever AI tool you're using, Claude, Cursor, or something else. And you can think of your MCP server as the old man in the cave that says, "I see what's ahead, what you're trying to do, and this tool is going to help you. Take this, and life is going to be a lot easier." So keep this metaphor in mind as we're building our remote MCP servers today. See if it resonates. If it doesn't, send me a better one, and I'll start using that one instead. But this one has really worked for me as I'm building. The first thing I want to show you is a template you can use to build a remote MCP server without authentication, meaning that just anyone can use this. So we're going to copy this command here. We're going to jump into terminal. And what this does is it takes this template we've created and it's going to set it up for us using Cloudflare workers. It'll take care of all our dependencies and we'll be ready to go once this finishes. So it's going to ask us if we want to use Git. We'll say no, and we're not going to deploy it yet. We'll just hop into our folder and we'll start up our application. This is an MCP server we already have configured on Claude, so I can open up Claude. And when this loads, you can see we have 2 MCP tools available. Our MCP server is a math server, so it has 2 tools, add and calculate. I can say, "Hey Claude, I misplaced my calculator. Can you use the add tool to add 27 plus 4? And this will load up. It'll detect that we have a tool we can use. We can give it permission to use that add function on our math MCP server. So we'll allow that for this chat. It'll get the results and it'll say the sum of 27 plus 4 is 31. Now that you've seen our MCP server in action, let's hop over to Cursor and take a look at the code. We have our MCP server here, and most of our code is in this index.txt. I'm going to go into Zen mode, which I just learned about, so you can do Command-R-Z, just make it a little less busy so we can really focus on this code. And you'll see here's our add tool. It looks exactly how we would expect. We have a little bit more complicated calculate tool, and I want to add a new tool, so I'm going to say this server.tool. And I'm going to call this one get random number, and we'll have the code here that generates a random number. Now, if we open Claude back up, which I'll do now, we should see, instead of 2 tools, 3 tools. So now we have our add, our calculate, and our get random number. And I can say, "Hey, can you use the tool to give me a random number?" And I love this example, as simple as it is, because if you've played with any LLM on trying to get random numbers, you'll notice that it's not exactly random, and not in the way that, like, you know, computers aren't good at randomness, but in a way that it's almost predictable what result you'll get. And so now we get this result of 18. If I open this up again and say the same thing, "Can you use the random number tool to give me a number?" It should give us something different than 18, and so it's going to ask for our permission again, and this time, instead of 18, it's giving us 79. And so as simple as a MCP server as it is, it actually takes something that an LLM isn't great at, generating random numbers, and it gives it the ability to be really, really good at that. And so I love using this as the example. That is our authless MCP server. But if you're building an MCP server, you probably want some kind of auth a lot of the time. So I want to jump into our second example. And this is using our template that uses GitHub OAuth. And I've went ahead and I've set this up because you've already seen me run through the setup. The only difference here is I have to put these different keys, and I definitely don't want the internet to see my GitHub client secret, that's for sure. And I've deployed this. So what I want to show you is actually this really, really cool thing that I recently discovered, which is the Model Context Protocol Inspector. Open this in an incognito window because I want you to see it fresh. I'm going to switch this over to SSE. I'm going to paste in my domain and I'll hit connect. And this will ask me to auth. So it says the MCP is requesting to be authorized by the Cloudflare GitHub MCP server. I'll hit approve, and then it connected me via GitHub. What I can do now is I can hit list tools, and we have our famous add tool again, but we also have our user info Octocat. So if I run this, this will get information about my GitHub user. So you can see my login is Ricky Robinette and my avatar URL. So suddenly we now have access to a bunch of things we didn't before because we're authed in. And I want to jump into the code for this one to show you something that I really liked. Now you can see, here's our add function, here's our user info Octokit, and how that request happens. But there's also something really cool here, which is an allowed username. So this allows us to gate certain tools based on the user's GitHub username. So you'll notice we have this check. If they have the username that's in our list, they get this generate image tool. And so I'm going to add myself to this. I'm going to hop over here and I'm going to deploy this so that it has our newest code on my server because this is running remotely. And once this is deployed, which it is now, I can hop back over here to our inspector. I'll clear our tools and I'll list them, and you'll see we have the generate image function, and I can say an orange cloud made out of yarn. And it says it works best with 8 steps. So I will run this tool that we didn't even know existed before. Oh, and that was pretty good. That is an orange cloud made out of yarn. And so I really love not just the authentication process that happens when you do this, but the ability to gate different tools that a user has access to based on what we know about them. So I'm going to stop there. Both of these examples are on our GitHub in the Cloudflare AI repo under demos. You can get started with them. Also drop the links so you can get to them very quickly. We really, really can't wait to see what y'all cook up with MCP. Tell us about it on X, on LinkedIn, on Blue Sky. Hang out in our Discord. You can get to that at discord.cloudflare.com or on our community forums at community.cloudflare.com. I hope you all have as much fun as I've had building with MCP, and truly, truly can't wait to see all the different things y'all build. Thanks a lot.